Alright guys, it's December. That means grab a snack, grab a drink, grab your copy of The Godfather, and hold on to it for dear life, because it's time to talk about all the movies I got in the month of November. Alright, starting us off are the first two Home Alone movies. I'm first going to talk about the second one, because I only have one thing to say about it. There's a comedy show that you should look up. Well, more of on YouTube, search up John Mulaney Lost in New York, because it's a really funny stand-up routine where he talks about why it's stupid to call a movie Lost in New York. If you don't mind a bit of profanity, it'll be hilarious. And as for Home Alone, I have one giant problem with it, and it's the legal aspect of it. The fact that Harry and Marv, they can get charged for residential burglary, and that's 1 year. But not only did Kevin not leave the doors, he unlocked the doors so they could get in easily. That means they can't get charged for breaking and entering, because they just entered. And on the other hand, Kevin can get 20 years for torture. That's a bit messed up for me. So next is Joker. Fourth favorite comic book movie, right behind The Dark Knight at the top place, Unbreakable, and, and Logan. But, my main problem with this is one that almost everyone had. It's that it stole a lot from Martin Scorsese's, Taxi Driver, and another of his later films, King of Comedy. Now, King of Comedy is a really good movie, and I actually saw King of Comedy, so I noticed those things, and as salt to the wound, they cast, Robert De Niro as a talk show host, which just feels like they wanted to it makes it feel like they didn't rip off enough from that movie. So then they cast Robert De Niro as a talk show host. So anyways, next is It's a Wonderful Life. I talked about this in my top 20 movies, so top 20 favorites, so skip. Alright, next up is Predator. I think we need a ton of more movies like this. And when I say that, I hope I don't get taken out of context by meaning I want another Predator sequel, because I really don't. I didn't want the first three, and I don't want another. But we need more movies where macho, manly, masculine, manly men go into a place with no rules. It's just a perfect plot for a movie, and when done right, it can actually be an incredibly good action movie. And there are some really well-directed action scenes in there. There's one scene in there that is just oozes with cool. It's Dutch, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character Dutch. He's the last man standing, and then so he finds out that the Predator can't find him if he coats himself in mud. So he coats himself in mud, goes on top of a tree, lights a torch, and then screams. And not only does that scene scream Home Alone, because he set like 1,000 booby traps, but it just shows that Dutch is gonna destroy the Predator. And so, next is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Welcome to Marathon, may I help you? Yes. How may I help you? You can start by wiping that freaking dumb smile off your rosy freaking cheeks. Then you can get me a freaking automobile, a freaking Datsun, a freaking Toyota, a freaking Mustang, a freaking Buick, 4 freaking wheels and a seat. I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me right now, and I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of freaking nowhere with freaking keys to a freaking car that isn't freaking there. And I really didn't freaking care to walk down a freaking highway and across a freaking runway just to get back here for you to smile in my freaking face. I want a freaking car right freaking now. that was Steve Martin's character. Yeah, Steve Martin's character, Neil Page, having a conversation with the actress who played Grace from Ferris Bueller. This is her. You might recognize her from Ferris Bueller. Now he's got Sloane Peterson involved in it. Her grandmother, too. You pinhead. This is actually my favorite John Hughes movie of all time. It's a movie that I think every man, woman, and child in the entire world should watch 3 times a day for every day for the rest of their lives. And that's in no way unreasonable. Next is Aliens. I don't doubt that this is a good movie, and I can be sure that there's some really well-directed action scenes. I can't say well-directed today. But the main reason I'm scared is I've heard that James Cameron's movies are really good, but the movies I've heard about his that were good were Avatar and Titanic. Avatar, I think, is very overrated, like a lot of people do think. And Titanic is one of the worst movies I've seen in my life. It's 3.5 hours long, and none of it's used to the best of its abilities until the ship sinks. Then the time's used usefully. And then, even then, it feels like they're trying to wrap it up quickly. But I'm not saying I have a problem with movies that are 3.5 hours long. The Godfather Part 2 is 3.5 hours long, and I love it. Seven Samurai is 3.5 hours, and I think that's one of the best action movies ever. But it's how they use their time that matters, and Titanic does not use any of that time usefully at all. So I'm not that big of a James Cameron fan, so I hope Aliens can redeem what I think of him. Next is, The Fugitive. One of my favorite action movies. Very, very entertaining. I like, Tommy Lee Jones's character in here. What's his name? Samuel Gerard. He's just the coolest character. He reminds me of a hound dog, how, he's just won't stop at all. He just needs to search for Harrison Ford's character, Richard Kimball. And so he's just so unbelievably cool. Next is, wait, you might have saw it, but I really need to do this. I've wanted to do it all day. Do you like apples? Well, I got Good Will Hunting on Blu Ray. How do you like them apples? Good Will Hunting, one of my favorite movies. Yeah, this was in my top 20 favorites list. But this is my favorite Robin Williams performance of all time. It's just such a heartwarming, beautiful movie that is just, it should be seen by everyone. I definitely think it should have won Best Picture. But instead, Titanic did, and you heard what I thought of Titanic. So, next is Schindler's List. I want to see this movie a lot, but here's the thing. My parents bought me this for my birthday, but they won't let me watch it, which I find a bit weird. So, what's your idea of a joke, Mom and Dad? I'm fully kidding. I hope they know that, because they watch my videos. But I really want to see Schindler's List, because I think Steven Spielberg's really good at directing 1940s period pieces. All 3 Indiana Jones movies that have ever existed are really good. Yeah, you heard me. All 3 of the Indiana Jones movies to ever exist. There's definitely no 4th one that really sucks called Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That would just be absurd. Anyways, I digress. And Saving Private Ryan was also a really good war movie. It's my favorite war movie of all time. So I'm excited to see how he directs this movie, because Saving Private Ryan was just an incredibly real-feeling movie, and it was a real... I haven't even been in war. I haven't even participated in war, but I feel that that's a very accurate portrayal of war. I feel like I fought in D-Day after watching the beginning scene of that. So I'm excited to see how powerful he can make this movie about the Holocaust after handling war so powerfully. Next is There Will Be Blood. This is the most elaborate form of foreshadowing ever. The title is There Will Be Blood, and there was blood. But Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor for this at the Academy Awards. I hate that he won that for one reason. Academy, it's not that hard to write ever at the end of Best Actor Award when you're giving it to Daniel Day-Lewis. This is the best performance I've ever seen. And actually, this year, this came out in 2008, and there was another, really good performance that year from Javier Bardem as Anton Chigurh. And so I think that was, 2008 had two really good performances. But There Will Be Blood is it's such a weird feeling movie. It makes you feel like you want to wash your hands. And it has a really dry feeling, so it makes you feel like you want to have water by at all times. And so, anyways, next is Aquaman. Let's just take a moment of silence to realize how bad and good this movie is. This is the most Michael Bay movie ever that wasn't directed by Michael Bay. And if you don't know what a Michael Bay movie is...
Explosions, flames, burning things.
Yeah. But this is a very Michael Bay movie. I like this movie, actually, and this is another movie that I think we need more of, where studios pay millions of dollars to make what's going to be a B movie. And this movie has laser sharks. Laser sharks. And to quote Dr. Evil, all I want are sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Yeah, that's all that Dr. Evil's ever wanted. It's all that I wanted. It's all that I never knew I wanted in a movie, and now it's all I need in every movie. Next is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This is actually a special movie for me, because my family has a lake house, and so whenever me and my parents go there, we watch either Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Jojo Rabbit, or Airplane. And then it's just a really fun tradition, and it's really fun to keep up. So Scott Pilgrim is actually my favorite of what we call the Lake House movies. But I hope I can watch that maybe 1 trillion more times in my life. Next. You ever hear of a tune-up? You ever hear of a ritual killing? I don't get it. You gnaw on her face in public again and you'll be one. I can't do the laugh as well as John Candy, but go on to YouTube, please, and search up Uncle Buck, his name is Bug, and find the video titled Uncle Buck, his name is Bug, because that is the funniest scene in this movie. And I know I like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but in terms of performances, I think this is John Candy's best performance. And I'm not sure who plays the eldest daughter of the family, Tia, but I think she's a really good actress. I haven't seen her in anything else. If you know the name of the actress, could you comment it? Because I want to find out her filmography, because I think she's doing really well in Uncle Buck. Next up is Shaun of the Dead. This is it? Yeah, this is probably my favorite comedy of all time. No, second favorite comedy. Monty Python and the Holy Grail for forever. But, this is a really funny comedy. My favorite quote from this movie is, "Who died and made you king of the zombies?" This is somehow really sad, but always really funny, too. And, I mentioned this in my Royal Tenenbaums review. I like it when movies place, funny moments right in between serious moments or during a serious moment. Because the real reason I like that is because I laugh at literally any little detail, and I don't want to seem like a psychopath. So, there's a scene where this guy gets eaten alive, and then like it's really sad, but there's a guy in the background who's just clumsily loading a shotgun, and I think I was the only one who noticed that, because I was holding in a laugh so hard, like. But then they tear off his legs on accident, and it looks really funny, and finally I got a chance to laugh. And there's actually a really good scene in this movie where they fight a zombie to the tune of Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. And actually, the director of this, Edgar Wright, I think he utilized that later in another one of his movies called Baby Driver. And I want to see that movie more than anything in the world, because it mixes my favorite genres of action and crime, as well as my second favorite director. So if I can see Baby Driver, all I'll need left in terms of movies is a Wes Anderson action movie. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't direct an action movie. So anyways, next up is Knives Out. Did a review of it, talked about it, and the only two reasons I didn't like this movie was, one, the final twist felt sloppy and underwhelming, and two, this is basically Ryan Johnson used this movie as a Twitter page. Like, there's so much politic talk in this movie. This movie is like one big Joaquin Phoenix Oscar acceptance speech. And so, next up are 3 Disney movies. Yay! Childhood, The Lion King, Aladdin, and The Little Mermaid. So, starting us off is The Lion King. I saw the Broadway play of this, and if you have the chance, please go see it. It's incredible. It's wonderful. The puppeteering is really good, and so it was just a magical experience for me. And so this kind of helps with it, with the memory, and I just really like that play. Every time I watch this movie, I think of just that beautiful experience of seeing the play. Next, Aladdin. Haven't seen it in I think I saw this when I was 5, actually. I haven't seen this in a very long time. But I'm excited to see it again because Robin Williams is in this movie, and him playing a cartoon character is brilliant. Now, if Robin Williams were still alive, rest in peace, all I'd want him to do is do a movie with Jim Carrey. That would be like the Expendables of comedy. That would be a movie that I watch 3 billion times a day, every day. I'll quit if that movie were actually made. I would quit every obligation I have and watch it for the rest of my life. Next is The Little Mermaid. I bought this in the same day I bought Aquaman, and so I was just like, might as well watch another Under the Sea movie. Under the Sea. I really like that song. But in all reality, I actually think this is a movie I like more than I should. And I don't mean that in a creepy way. I hope that doesn't sound creepy. But I like this. I actually think this is a really good movie. The romance is handled well. The music's really good. Or at least Under the Sea is. And it's just a fun movie to watch. And actually, I bought all 3 of these on sale. And I have a few theories on why I did that. Number 1, I'm going through my midlife crisis very early in life. Or 2, I am tired of having this conversation with my cousins. Hey, can we watch a movie? You kids ever watched John Wick? I'm fully kidding. I've never shown a child John Wick. Well, no, that's not true. I showed one child John Wick. Next is Ad Astra. And, I don't care what you say about this movie. I really like this movie. I think it's just really entertaining. It's definitely not as rewatchable as it should be, but it's like, when I say rewatchable, I don't mean like I can just pop this in randomly. I mean, it's not rewatchable for my standards, because I'm the type of person who watches The Perks of Being a Wallflower every week, and watches Collateral like twice every week, I think. So, but the reason I like this movie is the cinematography's on point, and the father-son dynamic between Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones is awesome. It's really good, despite the fact that they don't actually interact for most of the movie. But you can definitely tell where that movie got a bit of inspiration from Apocalypse Now. And at least it didn't get as much inspiration as Joker did. Yeah, calling you out, Joker. But it got a bit here and there. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And, wow, actually, that's it. That's all of the Blu-rays I got this month. Okay, so this year we have 6 nominees, and our first is Joker. This on 4K looks really nice. There are a lot of close-up shots where you can literally see the pores on people's face. You can see, like, loose strands. It's so good. And so next is Predator. The main reason I'm nominating this is because it's Blu-ray release, the Ultimate Hunter edition, is so bad. I haven't actually seen the Ultimate Hunter edition, but I did see some, like, clips from it, or some Blu-ray versus 4K, versus video, I don't know, comparison videos of the Blu-ray versus the 4K, and it looks so bad. And the 4K, this is actually a really good looking 4K because it makes everything look a bit, not too much, but a bit more colorful. And it also makes a lot of the dark scenes very lighter. And so it helps a bit. Next is There Will Be Blood. This movie takes place in a desert. And so the cinematography on this Blu-ray at least, this Blu-ray makes it look very dry. It even makes it you feel like you need water immediately, like you're about to die of heat stroke. And so it's just a really good looking Blu-ray, and there are a few scenes where you can see pebbles in the ground, and there's a scene where this oil drill explodes, and it's extremely well done and really good looking. So next is Aquaman. One of the reasons I'm nominating this is because this has a lot of explosions. As I said earlier, Michael Bay movie. That's not directed by Michael Bay. But there are a lot of underwater scenes that are really good looking. And there's one scene where Aquaman and Mera are diving into the sea, and they're using a flare as a light. And it's a really beautiful wide shot of, it almost looks like this black goo is chasing after them, because there are these monsters called the Trench chasing after them, and it just looks phenomenal, as well as the fact that the action scenes are very well done, with some very funky looking but very good camera work that makes it look very good on 4K. So next is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. There's a scene where Michael Cera's character Scott Pilgrim fights these two, the Kadianagi twins, in a battle of the bands. Like, they're playing against each other, and so eventually they use their amps to summon different monsters. The Kadianagis use their amps to summon two dragons, which actually, in that scene, they also make a reference to Rob Reiner's This Is Spinal Tap. Look closely and you might find it. But also, the Michael Cera's band, Sex Bomb, uses their amps to make a giant gorilla to fight it, or the green-eyed monster. And that scene looks phenomenal because a lot of the lighting makes it look like those monsters are real, and it just looks phenomenal on the Blu-ray. And finally is Ad Astra. Like I said, there are a lot of wide shots that take place in that take place in space, and it looks really good, along with this moon rover chase, where Brad Pitt's character and a few others are fighting space pirates. Sounds stupid. It's not stupid. It's awesome. And so it just looks really good. And there are a lot of shots where they use lighting that's like different colors that makes it look like the whole place is tinted orange. And it just looks really good. And so that's why I nominated Ad Astra. And our winner is, drumroll please, Aquaman. Not Aquaman, Aquaman. Like I said, a lot of the funky camera work looks great on this 4K. And that wide shot of Aquaman and Mera diving away from the trench is just phenomenal looking. And some battle scenes in this movie are beautiful. And so that's why Aquaman is winner of Blu Ray of the month. But actually, this, in my opinion, was the hardest to choose from out of all the Blu Rays of the month. Because all of these Blu Rays and 4Ks are really good looking. So I recommend, if you have a 4K player or 4K player, I recommend checking all of these out because they look stunning. Alright guys, that's about gonna wrap it up for this month's Blu Ray Additions video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I thank you so much for actually sticking around to the end because these videos are, as usual, very long. Thank you very much for watching these videos. Stay safe and watch good movies. Bye!